sleeping on the wrong side. What am I doing wrong here? I need a pillow to prop me up. So
Hey,
I
well,
know you're gonna help us with all that.
today's your day, Cousin Andy. I'm getting fired
Yeah,
up for
you
you.
got it.
I'm getting fired
All
up
right,
for you.
let's hear about this. Okay.
So, sleeping position. So, first and foremost, you would be surprised how many people, they come to see me because they're having trouble sleeping. Their sleep is horrible. They're not sleeping good throughout the night. They're tossing and turning. It reminds me of that song, I've been tossing and turning, right? I toss and I turn all night. So, they can't sleep, which means, when you can't sleep, what happens when you wake up?
Oh, you're just so tired and feel like you can't make it through the day, but you got to. It's early. It's time to go.
You're
Time to go to work.
and you're pissed off, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
you
That,
get up and your
putting it
spouse says,
lightly.
"How you doing, honey?" And you go, "Shut up," or "What's your problem?" And they're like, What's your problem?" And you go to work and they're like, "What's his deal?" or "What's her deal?" What they wake up on the wrong side of bed and you're just not sleeping at
But
nights.
it doesn't matter if you're like that in the mornings on the radio. You still got to be happy every single day for everybody. You know.
You got to turn it on, don't you? You got to turn on the pretty
You're
face.
stuck with it. So on the inside, you're really mad. You know.
You're right. You're exactly right. So you were, and I was talking with a good friend of mine, Dr. Chris Scott. We were actually running this morning and having a big discussion. We actually were talking about hormones and we're talking about all the different
Yeah.
problems that cause hormone issues. And he actually brought up another point that I didn't bring up last time that it is a valid point. Sleep can also cause problems with your hormones. And he was talking about, because he's a sleep apnea doctor. Do you ever know Dr. Kriska? He's here in Mount Airy. He also, I think he has an office in Elkin. He used to go to Sparta too. I don't know if he still has an
Yeah,
office there.
I've heard people that go there, but I've not. No, I don't know him.
Oh, he's awesome. You'd love him. He's got a funny accent, but he is a character. The cat, he runs like 1,000-mile races. I think he's going to ride 550 miles on a mountain bike in the next month. He's a nut. You would love him. I actually need to have him on with me one time. But
There you go. Have him on. You guys go back and forth,
you,
back and forth with him.
well, we'll be talking over each other because we both have the same personality. So it's like la 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 la. But he's a great guy. I think they're one of my close friends. But he was talking about, he was talking about hormones. He says the problem with hormones is sleep. And I said, "You're right, Doc." It was like, "You're right." But he's a sleep apnea guy. So, but the problem is if you're not sleeping, then you're going to have hormone issues too. So I guess this does tie in. This was accidental tying back into our talk from last week. But sleep, if you're not sleeping good, you won't produce the right hormones, which gives you fatigue. It makes you have problems sexually. It makes you problems gaining weight. So let's talk about sleep a little bit. So is that you good with that, Cousin Andy?
No, I'm good with that. Sleep very important. We got to have our sleep.
So let's get into it. So if you're looking at me live, I'm holding up my spine here. It's my old buddy. Actually, I like to say when I hold up a spine, I usually say, "Do you know anybody you know what this is?" And I say, "Do you know anybody who doesn't have one of these?" And usually somebody's like, "Oh yeah, I know somebody who doesn't have a spine." So, if when you sleep on your side, you'd be surprised how it affects your spine. When you sleep on your back, you'd be surprised how it affects your spine. When you sleep on your belly, it affects you. So, Cousin Andy, what do you think is the best way to sleep as far as which position that affects you, or actually affects you the least while you sleep?
Probably the least would be, I would say on your back. I'd say would be one of the best ways. If
You
you,
are
yeah.
you're a gentleman and a scholar, right?
I don't know about all that, but I appreciate it again. But yeah, back is, I don't know. I'm just a side sleeper. Always have been.
And I'm going to borrow. I've got this hot little model who just happens to be my niece, and so I say that so that way people don't think that I'm one of those. What's the word? Crunkle. Crunkle, which is a creepy uncle. Creepy uncle. So I'm not the creepy uncle. Am I?
No.
All right, good. All right. You'll
I
see
heard
that
somebody say no.
she got her looks from my wife's side of the family. You'll see that not from mine. See how pretty her hair is, and not. Oh, you can't see her, Cousin Andy. I'm sorry. Or you might have your phone on, but this is Sydney. She works with me here in the office, and she does a phenomenal job. So when we're sleeping and you're laying on your back, Sydney, you mind laying on your back? So the big thing when you're laying on your back is you need support underneath your knees, because if you don't, when your legs are straight out like so, what it does is it causes your spine to straighten out and causes issues. If you actually prop your knees up, it'll actually reduce pressure on your low back. So what we recommend is to take a small pillow, It can be, it don't have to be anything big, but just a small pillow or something. Just some people put up towels or roll towels and put them underneath their knees, and just slide it underneath your knee. And what that does, it takes pressure off the pelvis, but also most importantly, it takes pressure off the low back, and really can make a huge difference. So try a pillow underneath under your low back, and you also use some of these beds that that have the different functions where you can raise up the knee. I love to have just a little bit of knee under, or the knees to raise up underneath your in your adjustable bed. It can really help out and make a big difference. So if you sleep on your back, sleeping on your back is great. It's probably my favorite way to sleep, unless you have like sleep apnea, and then you're like, you ever heard that before? Sounds like some logs are sawing, right? So then if you can't do that, and you're like, I can't sleep on my back. If I do, I sleep, and then my wife punches me all night long. Because for some reason, us guys have a little more tendency to sleep. There are some girls that do sleep too, but Sydney's not one of them, right, Sydney?
Right.
That's right. That's right. So, or so I have heard anyway. So, at any rate, so when you sleep on your back, that's the best way to do it. Sorry, Sid, I'll give you a little pillow underneath your head. So, but on your side is not bad either. So if you're sleeping on your side, not a problem, but you need to consider a few factors. So if you sleep on your side, Cousin Andy, what does your knees typically do? You mind laying on your side, Sydney? Are you there, Cousin Andy? Oh, I thought I lost you there for a second.
Yeah, I can hear you.
So
What do they usually do?
do you tend to, you twist, you do the twisty motion like that? You know what I'm talking about? Your back has to twist, so your legs you don't lay with your knees touching each other. One like hits the one side of the bed and one hits the other side of the bed, correct?
Exactly, most of the time, yeah.
You got it.
That's right, yeah.
Well, in your spine, what's actually happening is if you're laying on your belly, what it actually does is it actually rotates your spine and puts pressure on the nerves in your back. And you'll be surprised how many people that I have will actually go out and buy a $4,000 or $5,000 or even $10,000 mattress. And the problem's not the mattress. The problem is their sleeping position. And they'll actually cause pain to develop in their low back, which can cause pain to radiate. I'm going to touch you on, just let you know, a touch in the buttock area. And then as they go, which they'll say it's their hip. They'll say, I've got a hip problem. But what it is they're irritating the nerve, and it radiates pain into the buttock, the hip region. And then as it goes, it can actually start to go down. In fact, people will say, I've got restless leg syndrome, and they may have it. However, you'd be surprised how many patients that we're treating, and they're like, you fixed my restless leg syndrome. And I'll say, I didn't know that you had restless leg syndrome. They say, well, I didn't know that you needed to know that I had restless leg syndrome. And what it is they're irritating the nerves in their back, and it'll make their legs jump. That's why a lot of my neuropathy patients that I start to treat, one of the biggest things they'll notice first is, besides the numbness and tingling start to calm down, is they'll notice that their legs aren't jumping. They can start to sleep better. They'll actually start to get a full night's sleep, or almost full night's sleep. To consider to them, they're like, 5 or 6 hours of sleep is like a godsend to them. But they'll start to get more sleep because they're not irritating the nerves in their back. The nerves are healing in their feet, and they don't jump like this. Because when your nerves are irritated, it'll cause your feet to move, because the nerves that come out of your back or the nerves that control your legs actually come out of your low back. So sleeping on your side is not bad. The big curveball is if you have some support between your knees, Cousin Andy. And so what I recommend, they actually make a knee pillow, but you don't want a huge pillow. You want something kind of small that will fit between your knees. And what it'll do is it'll help to open your pelvis up, so that way there's not that same rotation, and it's not putting so much pressure on the spine itself, because you're keeping the pelvis straight. Because when you start to turn it, that whole spine has to move, and the nerves that come out will get irritated. So if you're laying on your side, use a small pillow. They actually make a knee pillow, and it looks like a peanut. It actually looks, or dog bone, I guess you would say. So it's kind of shaped like that, and you can prop it right between your knees. The one thing I do like about a pillow is sometimes it's easier to keep in there. And I will say, if you're a thicker person, is that a good way of saying that? If you're a thicker person, it's even worse, because now you're actually having to extend even further over and put more pressure on the low back, and it really can aggravate your low back even more. So sleeping on your side is not a problem. In fact, I like to sleep on my side, plus my wife likes it when I sleep on my side, because those logs don't get snored quite as bad. So she's like, if I can start feeling an elbow, I think I'm fighting Mike Tyson. She might be 4'11", but she can knock me out if she needs to. So She said, TKO. Have you ever met my wife?
I have met your wife. Yeah.
You have, and you know where I met her, don't you?
No.
On the set of Willy Wonka. She was one of the Oompa Loompas. She's going to kill. If she's watching, honey, I love you and you're beautiful, by the way. You know I'm just cutting up. No, my wife is absolutely knocked down gorgeous. I do not know what she's doing with me. I still say she's blind, legally blind, but she's absolutely gorgeous. The best personality. You couldn't ask for a better wife. And best importantly, she puts up with me, but she does throw me a couple of jabs or roll me over or start shaking me when I start hitting the snore button. But if I sleep on my side, it's not as bad. But and especially if you're already having back issues, if you'll start putting some support between your knees, it'll actually help you sleep better. So start off by doing these are some simple things. If you're on your back, put some pillow underneath your knees. If you're on your side, put a pillow between your knees. Pretty simple, right?
Yeah.
Get her done, right?
I like that.
Get her done. So, all right, the last one that we're going to talk about sleep position is the ones that we love the most, which are my stomach sleepers. So, what do you think about stomach sleeping, Cousin Andy?
I guess that'd be okay.
It is okay if you, hey, the great thing is if you stomach sleep, we get to see you more often in my office. You know, the neck surgeons absolutely love you, and you'll get to enjoy those headaches even more often than the average person does. So if you like those things.
Really? With the stomach sleepers you do, huh?
Oh gosh, my stomach sleepers are my typical ones that'll have more numbness and tingling in their hands when they wake up. They'll typically have more headaches. They'll develop disc problems in their neck because you're compressed. Now let me show you. If you're live with me, you can see it, Cousin Eddie. You're just going to have to visually picture unless you've got the YouTube pulled up or TikTok pulled up. So what you're doing when you're laying on your belly?
What am I seeing right now, Dr. Delp?
What's that?
I'm trying to see what am I seeing? I'm trying to see if I'm in the same location you are on your.
Oh, my thing. So YouTube at Help with Doc Delp.
Yeah, I actually see you on there, but I'm just trying to see if you're caught up or behind.
Oh, I'm probably a few seconds behind. That might be what it is. It says a little delay. So we was testing this earlier. I was using my dance moves, and then the girls would see. I said, "Look at the delay there." So it's a little delayed. So if you can see me, can you see Sydney laying on her belly?
I see Sydney laying there now. Yeah, I sure do.
Perfect. So if you're laying face down, and it's going to be delayed just a moment. If you're laying like that and you turn your neck like she's doing, what it's doing is it's actually compressing the nerves in your neck. You can actually see it really clearly if we show you the video right here. It actually compresses. These are the nerves that come out of the neck, and it actually will compress them. It also will cause pressure on the discs that are between the spine and will actually cause the disc to start to tear open. And that's how you end up with a disc bulge. In fact, if you can see, I'm a little delayed, so work with me here. But if you look at the vertebrae, so if I cut two vertebrae out and a disc that's in between, this is kind of an example. When the vertebrae shifts, so if that vertebrae shifts, it actually causes that liquid to squeeze out on that nerve and actually put pressure on the nerve. And that's how people end up with their shoulder aching at night. They actually have a lot of shoulder pain. You'll be surprised how many people that we x-ray them and we're like, man, they're coming for a shoulder problem, and they're like, man, your shoulder don't look bad, or you may have a shoulder problem. But the main issue is actually radiating out of their neck and actually causing their shoulder to ache. They'll actually start to hurt in their arm. And a big telltale sign that it's not just your shoulder, or you may have a shoulder issue as well as a neck issue, is if it passes the shoulder. If it starts moving down your arm, because people come in and they'll hurt down their bicep or their tricep, and then they'll hurt in their forearm, or as they start getting numbness and tingle in their hands, then we know there's something coming out of the neck that causes that. And you can see where she's laying how much pressure it puts on the nerves in your neck. So these are and neck sleepers typically, and don't get me wrong, I grew up sleeping on my neck. And when you sleep on your belly, not your neck. I guess we're all sleeping on our neck, right? So, but if you sleep on your belly with your neck turned, it just puts so much pressure on the nerves and on the discs of your spine that eventually, unless you are blessed, like you never heard of the old people that they're like, my grandpa drank a quart of liquor every day and lived to 95, smoked a carton of cigarettes a day. You know what I'm talking about, those guys? Yeah.
I heard them stories.
And I've heard them too. And there's people out there like that, but the rest of the people die. So you're like, well, yeah, Uncle Bob pulled it off, but you've got cirrhosis at age 25. So probably not going to work for you. But there are people that are just have the superhuman healing ability that can get by with stuff that other people can't. But that's called the exception to the rule. That's like if you spend your paycheck every week on the lottery, you may hit it, but there's more than likely you're not going to hit it. Do you follow what I'm saying? So I'm not saying not advocating or not advocating for the lottery. You roll the dice if you want to, but you get the point I'm trying to make. So sleeping on your belly is you tend to have problems. If you do so, just expect to have some issues, and if you have issues, now you'll know where they're coming from. So also, if you're sleeping sleeping in general, we like to talk about pillows because somebody usually always talk about what's the best way to sleep, which I'll say sleep on your back, but put a pillow underneath your knees. Sleep on your side with a pillow between your knees. And then if you sleep on your belly, you need to have a stand appointment with me, or I can get you set up with a neurosurgeon because you're going to be seeing one of them. If you see the neurosurgeon, we're going to see you back because you're probably going to have surgery again after your first surgery. So there's exceptions to that rule, but statistically, once you start doing spine surgery, it just keeps going. So we talk about pillows, and I was doing my best to try to get a pillow set up for y'all so you can see it, but I can show you right here. So if you sleep on your back, what you don't want to do, sorry, I'm going to get this out of the way. If you sleep on your back, you don't want to have too many pillows. The biggest issue if you run into too many pillows is that, I'm going to move out of the way so we can see Miss Sydney, it puts pressure on the spine and actually forces that disc material we're talking about back on the nerve. So what it's actually doing is it actually lifts up the neck, it puts pressure on the disc, it puts pressure on the nerve, and it usually causes people to have their shoulders will stay tight all the time. They'll develop pain in their shoulders, and they'll actually start to move down their arms. In fact, when we're treating somebody, and they're progressing slowly or they do better, but then they start to back up, a lot of times we'll say, how do you sleep? And then when we start working on the pillow solution, if they sleep on their back and they sleep with a lot of pillows, that's where we're into problems. And you might say, well, I've got sleep apnea and I have to use a CPAP. Well, you may have to mess with some of the back of your bed to bring it up, but if you sleep with a lot of pillows, it's going to cause issues to develop, Cousin Andy, okay? That makes sense. Now, but you might say, well, so what you don't want to do is you can actually get away with less pillows on your back, but when you sleep on your side, what's going to be the problem there? If you, like in this video, you can see Sydney's actually sitting asleep on a pillow that's pretty close to what she needs. So what you want to do is make a line that goes down the center of her body and kind of line up with her nose. You can see she's a little slightly elevated, but she's in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, she looks like she's a little bit, she's not lined up.
Not exactly, but this will be good. So let me show you this. So
it's a little lower than the rest of her body, yeah.
How many people sleep on multiple pillows? Look at that. Well, I'll be daggum. Or excuse me, we're in the South. I say, I'll be daggum, right? So what happens is if you look, it brings up, it causes more pressure on this, and this is a recipe for disaster. If you sleep on too many pillows, or say you sleep on one little flat pillow that you've had since you were 8 years old and it's a family pillow and you can't get rid of it. And I'm telling you, when I talk about pillows, you would think that I'm talking about getting rid of your mom or dad. It's literally like, it's not my pillow. Well, can we talk about it? You start hearing that. Yeah. Well, but I've really had it, and I really like it, and I'm like, but you're not. You're doing better, but you're going back. So something's causing, and it's bothering you while you're asleep at night. You wake up with this problem. Could we at least talk about it? And eventually they'll give in, and then guess what happens? They start to do even better. So if she's sleeping with no pillow or very little pillow, you've got issues developing. And we also, I missed a spot because when you sleep on a pillow, a lot of people put their arm underneath their pillow, which even elevates it even higher. So they'll lay on the pillow, I'll say, give your spouse watch you when you're in bed, how you sleep, and if you're down or up, they'll say, oh, it looked great. Then there's still happening. Well, I said, you sleep with your arm on your pillow? They're like, well, yeah, did you shook when your spouse was checking you out? Did you go through that? They're like, well, no. And I'm like, well, that could be a problem. So just watch. Make sure when you do that when you're watching or see where you're at, that you keep in fact that you have your pillow or your arm on your pillow, or don't have your arm on your pillow. So those will help you out. And we'll also talk about the kind of pillows as far as firm or soft. It all depends on how you sleep, but I tend to go with a medium pillow. One of my personal favorite pillows is the purple pillow. Have you ever heard of it?
The purple pillow?
Purple pillow. I love them. And in fact, I started laughing. My wife came in with this pillow, and they're not cheap, don't misunderstand me. But she gave me this pillow, and I was like, honey, I sell pillows at the office. I have pillows available. Why did you come home with this purple pillow? Like, just bring home a good pillow, sweetheart. And she's like,
She must have been like me. She Googled what's a good pillow, what's the perfect pillow.
I think she just went to the store and was up there, and she's like,
it comes up.
yeah, you got, well, exactly. So I was like, you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking, sucker, you know what I'm saying? So, okay, Mom, okay, honey. So she sleeps on it, and I'm kind of giggling in the back of my mind. I've got my pillow that I've been carrying in the office for 20 years, and I love. And then all of a sudden, my son pops up with one. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you like, you have really been? And she's, I love it. I'm like, whatever. You know how this situation is. You're like, don't even, your spouse. You're like, it's better just not to discuss it. Just let them do their thing. And she probably says the same thing about me too. She's like, just leave it alone. He's going to get hard. You don't get his high horse, and he's going to. So, at any rate, so then my son gets one, and one night he like crawls into bed with us, and so I'm like, I can't sleep. So I go jump in his bed. He's got this flipping purple pillow, right? So I'm like, so I sleep on it, and I wake. I'm like, gosh, this thing's pretty comfortable, and I guess the best thing I can say it's springy, but it's not too firm. Like a lot of these pillows that I'm not going to mention names because I'm not knocking companies or whatever, they're too firm. And so your head it's almost like locked up like that. This has got springy, but it's also soft. And so it's kind of a happy medium. And literally, so I actually, after, I hate to say this, you're going to probably think bad of me, but I actually snagged his pillow after and tried it again. I was like, holy cow, I really like this. So guess what? I ended up buying one. So I bought one. I bought one, and then I ended up buying a second one, and I bought one to take with me places, and so guess what I carry in my office now?
Purple pillow.
No, I don't carry any pillow. I send people down the road to Mattress Warehouse, and I say, go down there and buy a pillow, because I could buy them. When I was looking at them, it was going to cost me as much as what they were selling them for, and I was like, I can't look at you and say, hey, go down there, you'll save more money getting it from them than you will from me. So I just said, go down there. Guess what pillow I carry in my office now? None. I don't carry any pillow because I can't back it. If I don't back it, I can't promote it. So at any rate, so the purple pillow I really like, and I'm not saying that you have to go out and get one of those, but if you do, if you're having problems, you're considering, I'd at least try them out. I do one thing about Mattress Warehouse, and they don't pay me to tell you this, so you can ask them and say, does he pay? And they'll say, nope. But they will let you lay on them, and because there's a small, medium, and a large, and like somebody like Sydney, she does not need a large pillow. If she does, she's going to be back in that situation again. Sorry, Sydney. She's like, just grab my head and pull it up, would you please? And then somebody who's a more robust person don't need too small, because they've got to fill up this gap between their shoulder and the bed. So they got to fill that gap up, so then they'll have problems. So it's just like porridge, the Goldilocks and the Three Bears. It can't be too hot, it can't be too cold. It's got to be just right. So everybody's got to match. Everybody don't wear the same size shoe, right?
That's right.
But we all try to make us all fit the same pillow. So let them measure you, let them see what you can do, and then you'll be surprised how much better it will help you. So sleeping positions makes a big difference, and the pillow can make a huge difference. If you have anything other questions you can think about that, thank you, Sydney, for helping out. You're the bomb. And look, not only is she awesome, but she's beautiful as well. And I got three absolutely gorgeous nieces. But I work with two of my nieces. So I've got Skylar. She couldn't be here today. She had to do some running. Absolutely gorgeous girls. And it's funny, when I go places, these guys are like, hey, who's this chick right here? I'm like, just back off, that's my niece, man, back off, right? So, but at any rate, so we're going through the different sleep positions. Cousin Andy, can you think of anything else that we need to discuss with that would be beneficial?
I can't think of anything, Dr. Delp. Sounds like you covered it all pretty well. Maybe, mattress, that have something to do with some of it too.
Absolutely. So I will say mattresses.
Mattresses in.
And now, I'd have drank the Kool-Aid, the purple Kool-Aid, I guess, because so I got this pillow, and then I actually called the company up, Purple, and I was like, hey, I would like to start carrying. And then they told me I said. Basically, you had to buy like so many of them, and basically I could sell them for what this other place was selling. I was like, I just won't carry them. That don't make logical sense for me to do that. If you can get them for $20 cheaper than I can sell them to you, what I'm paying for them is basically the same price what you can go down the rest and just go get it. So at any rate, so I bought a mattress, a company. I'm not going to say the name because I'm not against the company. I liked the mattress. It was okay. I wasn't you didn't have a problem with it. But after this pillow, I said, I went in the store or whatever, no time to get my other pillow, and I said, I want to lay on the beds. I'm curious what the beds feel like. And so I laid on the bed and I was like, gosh, that's pretty comfortable. That's pretty comfortable, And I was like, okay. And then my mind's like, you just bought a mattress a year ago. Don't even think about it, Buster. Leave it alone. Leave it alone, So then I was down in Winston. They had another store down there. So I went in there and I laid on it. I was like, man, this is pretty comfortable. I said, honey, come over here, lay on this. And she's like, oh, I like that. That's really nice. And I was like, yep, when, 4 or 5 years, normally a mattress, I expect to get about 5 years out of them. I don't plan on 10 years like they claim. Usually at about 5 years, unless they actually, in fact, I actually went and toured a mattress company down in Winston, which also is a good mattress I like, called Spring Air. And they were great. I'm a little happier with the purple. I'm not, it's they're a little more expensive, but I don't care what kind of mattress you sleep on. But they said that what mattress standards across the board is they base their mattress on a 180-pound person. So most people, I don't weigh 180 pounds. You can see me on air. I weigh like 95 pounds, right? Not. Okay, I'm like 200 easy. So, and then I'm probably not the average. There's probably people that weigh more than I do. So if you're sleeping on a mattress and you're 200, 225, 250 or better, it wears the mattress out even faster. And to get your warranty, they lay like a 2x4 across and it's got a dip by so much. So basically, it's got to been hurting you. It has had to have been hurting you for a long time to get that warranty. So what I base it on my mattress is keeping it for about 5 years. Now with this purple, the only thing curveball is it's got this different type of foam. So I'm curious how it's going to last, but it's got the same type of foam that's in your pillows on top, but it's got a regular mattress in the bottom. And that's what I like about it. You get what's called a hybrid, which you get a little bit of both. But I really like it when we talk about mattresses. It's not a pillow top. And honestly, their firm is softer than their softer. It's really, when I was talking to the lady in the store, she's like, I would actually put you with this, which is really honest. She said, I won't put you in our highest level. I actually think our second one from the highest is actually the best. And I was like, really? And she says, let's lay on it. She says, I think the other one's a little too soft. And she was right. Now that's her opinion. That's mine. Everybody's got their own thing, just like porridge. But when I recommend mattresses to people, I recommend getting a mattress that is not too soft or too firm. And in theory, firm would be your best mattress because it's going to support you. The problem is most people, when they sleep on a firm mattress, what do? They do this like little dance move right here, which is you're tossing and turning. And when you're tossing and turning, what is it doing to your spine? You're just twisting it back and forth, and you wonder why you wake up and you feel like, you know what. So getting a mattress that you can sleep on. Now, if it's too soft, you tend to dip just like this. Your spine will dip down and then it will cause issues with it. So that's why if you sleep on your couch a lot, you tend to have more problems because there's not that much support. So I'm a big fan of not too hot, not too cold, just right. So about medium. Plush mattress, I think the terms go, you got to look at your cold counts because sometimes you'll think you're getting a really good deal, but your cold count's not high enough. And I actually should do a show on just mattresses alone because that way, in fact, I might even call up a mattress company and see if they'll let me come in there and I can actually go through some different things. It might be a great show to do in the future if you're up for that, Cousin Andy. You don't have to come. We can talk on the phone. If you want to come, you can be my next model. If everybody sees how good looking you are, though, your wife's going to have to beat them off with a stick. So at any rate, but yeah, watch how you sleep in closing. We're going to close this baby down. Watch how you sleep. If you're sleeping on your side, put a pillow between your knees. If you're sleeping on your back, put something underneath your knees to support your back and support your pelvis. If you're sleeping on your belly and you have headaches and you have neck trouble and you have shoulder hurts, and then I'll give you my number afterwards. I'm joking, but you get the point. But you're going to need help down the road. So whether it's from me or somebody else, and I've got buddies that do spine surgery and do a great job, but they'll tell you that you're going to be a repeat customer for them most likely as well. So I'd much rather solve it beforehand by the way you sleep or chiropractically than having to wait and go through a major surgery. But we're all team. We all work for you. Sometimes surgery is the only indication, but if you can change the way you sleep and do better, why not? And watch your pillow size. You know, make sure if you're sleeping on your side, it's not too much, it's not too little, but you're just right. If you sleep on your back, you can't, you know, you don't want to be head cranked forward because it can really cause problems. And like I said, if you sleep on your belly, if you can't break it, try to sleep on the least amount of pillow you can, because if you sleep on a pillow on your side, all you're doing is flexing this up and compressing the nerves. The nerves actually come out through these little openings right there. So when you're jamming it forward, you're just compressing them. But it also forces the disc out on the opposite side. So just watch how you sleep. It can make a huge difference. And in closing, if you have any issues, consider this, you know, what we're talking about. Try to make the changes. I'd love to help you in my office, but if you don't need me, it's better off. And so try to do things that you can do to prevent problems. What did Grandma say about an ounce of prevention, Cousin Andy? You still there, Cousin Andy? Well, if you're not there, ounce prevention is worth a pound of cure. So at any rate, other than that, you can if you have any other questions, you can call us in our office at 336-786-5555. That's 336-786-5555. Otherwise, you have a wonderful day, and I appreciate you listening today. And thank you very much. Y'all have a great day.
Hey, Dr. Delp.
Oh, you're back. You're back. You're back. I looked, I said, it's not 12 o'clock yet. So, you know, we normally have our station identification. So I thought I must have lost you there. So, but.
Yeah, we had to check on another computer there, Dr. Delp. But no, we're good. We're still here. I appreciate it so much.
Technical difficulties. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I always got to watch something to monitor everything going on.
There you go. There you go. Well, yeah, other than that, anything else, Cousin Andy, you think we need to discuss, or we'll wrap it up?
That's it. Did you give your numbers out and all that?
Yep, I believe I did. Like I said, if you want to come back after the fact and look at this program because you've got a son or daughter or a friend or your spouse that's having problems and you want to go through and show them, you can look us up at Instagram at Help with Doc Delp. That's DOCDELP. And then, Facebook, what's that? Oh, it's also going to be put on our website too. The beautiful Miss Sydney is in charge of all our marketing, so she puts it on our website as well because she's the brains of this family. She's a UNC grad, so she's got all the brains, right? So at any rate, other than that, y'all have a great day, and thank you.
I did get to go up on the TikTok or YouTube's the one I come up on this morning and got to watch a little bit of you up there. So
Hey! Now you see how ugly I am. You've seen me how ugly I am before, but now you know. Now I have noticed I got a little glare on my head, so any though I'm blinding you from there, I had a nice shave this morning, so I'd try to look pretty for you, Cousin Andy. So,
I get it.
But at any rate, well, hey, have a wonderful day and enjoy this weather while we're having good weather. We just need a little rain, and we'll be right on.
Thank you. Yes, we do. You take care now.